Hi, good afternoon. This is Jose Barahona. Thank you for joining us on part 2 of our webinar on the latest release 10.6. Now again, like we said last week, we normally have one, but this one turned out to be a really big release. So we're going to go ahead and take your questions. We want to try to keep it for an hour, be with you. Thank you for joining me. My name is Jose Barahona, and I am with Christian Lillemets. He is our product manager. So it's our job to make sure that you understand what we're doing and hopefully give you a better idea of what is what's coming. Now, behind all this, we called it the outbound logistics and customer service. At the end of the day, your documentation, the customer's on-end experience with what you're doing, what they receive is really the face of your company. Yes, you're in logistics. Yes, you can ship out across the world, but at the end of the day, the customer has to have some sort of face that, hey, this is who you are and what you do for them. So today we're going to show that to you, okay? Now we get started, or before we get started, we want to talk about the release notes. Where do you find all the information at 10.6? It's really in the release notes. We don't go over every single feature. It'll take a lot longer than 2 webinars. But people always ask anywhere they can go. Well, there it is. It's got the release notes. You can access them right then from page 1. So if you're in your Magaya system, the first page that opens up, that sometimes you click away, it's there. Not only the current 10.6, but also the previous versions. So get an idea of how big the version is. It's actually 10 pages. So feel free to go through the document. Ask anyone in Magaya for any particular features that interest you. We'll gladly point you in the right direction. Chris?
All right, thank you, Jose, and hello everyone from me as well. And since there are actually more of you on today than last week, I'd like to remind the newcomers that the content was entirely different, but this is not a duplicate webinar. And here's what we covered last Wednesday, in case you missed it. There's also a video recording available, and will be of this one as well, on our YouTube page, which I just opened. So if you go to YouTube and you open the page, the channel for Magaya software, it is currently the very first one that is there. And we will upload the recording for this webinar, and you'll find all sorts of cool training materials on that YouTube page as well. So last time we covered the new user interface in Magaya, a lot of new accounting features, the tutorial videos, and we did an exciting demo of the Dimensioner product for getting weights and dims and pictures into your Magaya. All right. However, today we are going to cover, as Jose said, some the more customer service related features, outbound logistics. So we're going to start with the U.S. Postal Service integration that we have now in Magaya. Then we're going to talk about LiveTrack a lot, because we have put many new features in LiveTrack for you. Transaction tracking improvements, which are tracking emails related that you can send out of Magaya or can be automatically sent out of Magaya to your customers. And we're going to cover a few new features in our Final Mile app for pickups and deliveries. So there's a lot of mobile today. And finally, we're going to show a little sneak preview of the LiveTrack mobile app that we have, which is going to be different for those of you that were here last week than the one we had last week. So even that part hopefully won't be boring for the ones that already saw something last week. All right, so let's get right into it with the USPS integration. Okay, so a quick recap. We have a plugin called ExpressLink, which allows creating shipments with couriers straight out of Magaya. That includes getting the latest rates, or if you have your own contract rates with the carrier, you get those. Creating the shipment, printing the labels, and receiving the tracking number, and continuously receiving the tracking updates in Magaya. And it's worked for a while with UPS and FedEx already, but many of you have asked to include United States Postal Service. Now we have it. Let's take a look. So since USPS doesn't have their own API to connect to, we went through a well-known partner, Indicia. It's a California company owned by Stamps.com actually, and they're really good. The way it'll work is that you will need an Indicia account where you log on and buy postage in advance. And you can also set your account with Indicia up to auto recharge from a credit card should your balance run low. So it's different from UPS and FedEx in a way that you technically prepay the postage, and then you use when you create the shipping labels in Magaya, it'll deduct from the prepaid postage that you have. And here is the indicia.com website where you can go ahead and create your account if you already don't have one, where you can manage your payment information and buy postage. If you have already an existing Indicia account, you can just link in your Magaya system. And if you don't have one, you can create one either on the website or in your Magaya system. Okay, then some good news about the rates. You will qualify for a bit of a discount through Magaya as well. If you already have volume-based special rates with USPS, Indicia will add that rate table to your account. When you open an account with them, you can have them hook that up. So there are a few technicalities, such as which of their payment plans that they have to choose if you want the better rates with Magaya, etc. So don't hesitate to call us at first if you want to jump right on board with this, so we can help setting this up. And in addition, as always, there are knowledge base articles available. So if you just go to knowledge.magaya.com and search for USPS, they'll come right up. Okay, and just the final thing before the demo, just mentioning that it currently works for USPS domestic services only. All right, so let's take a quick look what we could do in Magaya. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and create a cargo release. And as with the other Express Link features with UPS and FedEx, it really pays off if you have verified the addresses, names, and phone numbers of your entities already, because then the actual shipment creation is very fast. So I'm picking someone that I know, for example, that I don't have a typo in their phone number, etc. So here I can pick a carrier, which means Magaya can already enter the charges on the transaction. So on the cargo release or shipment that you're creating here, it can create the cost based on the rate we're going to get right now, and even a resell based on a markup, so that you can create an invoice. All right, and I'm just going to pick this box of pencils and finish. All right, so I have my new cargo release 184 here, and I'm going to go to the Express Link menu and ship this out with USPS. Again, we have a batch shipping option as well. I'm just going to do a single one just to go through the full wizard here. All right, so I have all my address information already complete, so I don't have to spend too much time verifying that. I'll just click next. Here we have a few options that you might recognize if you've created shipments online with USPS or other couriers before, like you can say whether a signature is required, whether you allow cash on delivery, etc. Add a few reference numbers. But what's really interesting here is the Get Rates button. Okay, so I'm just going to hit Get Rates, and now we're inquiring rates for this cargo release. Okay, so I'm going to pick USPS priority for $5.95. Hit Save and Next, get to a final confirmation screen. As you can see, what I've already set up in the background is that I will also get the delivery emails set up. And let's hit Send. All right, so it automatically asks if I want to print the USPS shipping label. I don't have to do it, but why not? Let me just, I'll print it as a PDF so you can easily see it. All right. Here's my shipping label. I can put it on the box and drop it at the post office or wait for a pickup if they're coming. Also in Magaya, I can see, if I refresh this list, I can see the reference information now. these columns here. I can see the tracking number, I can see the cost, and the labels I can come here and reprint anytime. So the Express Link menu now has changed, saying that I can reprint or view these labels. I can cancel this operation or pull events from the USPS server, see if there are any updates. This tracking number and tracking information is already available in LiveTrack as well on this cargo release. And if I look at the charges here, I had set up that I will just add $1, so I can already just create an invoice for my customer for this as well. And here I can create a bill for USPS in my accounting. Okay, so in addition, I could pick a few where I already haven't and do that once in the end of a day, for example. Okay, so I can create batch shipments, which is very convenient with USPS, with UPS, and FedEx equally. All right, so the next big area that we're going to cover are updates to LiveTrack. Okay, so LiveTrack is our online tracking environment, and we have a few new features there. So we have something that's called LiveTrack Plus. Jose, did you want to talk about why LiveTrack Plus is good while I go and log on to LiveTrack?
Sure. Well, the idea of LiveTrack Plus is to give our clients a little bit more of an opportunity to do, communicate with their clients better and give their clients better availability for services. As the industry changes, we go from having these and there to give customer service. The trend, customers want to go online to their websites and just find out information without them having to call. So now we're moving away from having these people who are, taking phone calls, taking orders, to the clients going online to your website and looking for additional information at the beginning. But now that's changing, and clients add different services, tell you what to ship out. So the LiveTrack Plus gives you the ability to not just give clients tracking from your website, but also give you the ability to actually add a pickup order. In fact, Chris is actually going to show you a few of the screens on how to actually create a pickup order. So the idea here is the clients, your clients, our clients' clients are going online, generating pickup orders, generating bookings, generating those orders for your next shipment. So they can actually create their own house shipment for that next available ocean or air shipment that you're working on. They can release inventory from your actual Magaya system. They can give you those instructions. So we're changing the way our clients communicate with their clients. And it's no longer an email that gets lost. It's no longer a phone call that you forgot how many boxes. It's the actual client telling you 100% what needs to go. And that really is a game changer in the way the clients are communicating with their final clients, Chris.
All right, and we have a few of these transaction types, let's say, that your clients could request online, 5 or 6 if I'm not mistaken, and it used to be a financial decision for you which ones of those you wanted to use, because they were all chargeable separately. We just bundled them all together now in the LiveTrack Plus, which will also give you access to the LiveTrack mobile app that I'll show you later today, so that you basically, any types of transactions that you support, your clients can now post online directly into your Magaya system through their LiveTrack. And one of the questions that we have been getting over the years about these transactions is that, okay, it's great, my customer logs in and they call me and they say there are just too many fields to fill out. Can you just come and pick up one box at my address? Like just make it quicker, make it simpler. So for that, the new feature that we created for this release will be the templates, okay? And actually, if you look at the homepage, there's a save a template for your online request and save time, read more knowledge base article right here. We have introduced this new homepage where we are going to frequently update articles that we think are going to be useful for your clients, the users of LiveTrack, to help them get going fast. So the first new feature is creating these online transactions from pre-saved templates. Okay, so let me go here and do a booking, for example. So I'm going to add a new booking. So I am your customer's customer, and as you can see, booking has a total of 5 screens to go through, a lot of information to enter. But now we have this new area at the top right here called template, and they can pick from a pre-saved template of theirs that can even be a default one, so it doesn't start with a blank, it even starts with a template. So let's say I request a booking from my freight forwarder, one of you, weekly for just one container from Miami to Nassau. Let's say I have a pretty standard schedule. So now I'm pulling up this template that I previously saved, and so all I have to really change is the date range, because that's obviously one thing we won't save in a template, because you always want to ask for a specific date if there's any availability. But anything like, let's say, the method of transportation, the ports, and I even have my 20-foot standard container that I maybe usually ship entered here. All this information that could be considered redundant or repeating, where I'm picking up, who's the shipper, who's the consignee, and what's the consignee's address, all of that I have already saved in this template. So, and some custom notes here maybe. So all it really takes is put in the dates, see if there's anything you actually need to change, and otherwise just hit submit in the end, and the new booking is already in your Magaya system now, okay, or the new booking request. So that works the same with pickup orders, shipments, sales orders, etc. Okay, how to create these templates? You see the little drop down there that says either save this, which will override the existing one, or save as. And if I look at the settings menu under my username here, I can see actually all my templates per transaction type, and I can make them default. I can run them from here, edit them, or if I go to a specific transaction type, so let's say I'm going to book a pickup order now, I can pull them from the top right. All right, so this is the templates feature, and I'm actually going to cover a few other new features, and this again with this online pickup order. So this online pickup order, we think online pickup orders are very important because a lot of like repeating shippers that you have could just post this instead of calling you. They could have something set up, like for example, let me use this one. So I have a shipper in Fort Lauderdale, John, and they often just like send me a box or two for picking up. Okay, so again, I have their address saved, my warehouse address saved, so for them to go and create it now, if they're lazy, sometimes they can be, and they say, I don't want to even do this template. You can log in as them and say, I went there, I created a template for you that says from my warehouse to yours, just go ahead, run this, and click submit. Okay, that will already make sure that you don't have to have anyone picking up the phone. All right, so what we've added in addition to make this easier for the online pickup order specifically, okay, so let me for example delete this line and let me add a new commodity. Okay, so I would say this is one PlayStation, it is a box, one piece, some custom notes, and the new field here is that you can actually have them, if there's already an existing tracking number, a label on this, they can now enter the tracking number of this pickup order. So I'm going to just scan the tracking number here, add this, and since this was a template, you'll see that the customer information is already in there. So I'm picking up from John and I'm bringing it to my warehouse. Again, dates we don't save, so let's have this done today. Some reference information, I'll just leave all that empty for now, and I'll submit this. Okay, so I have this new pickup order number 38 in my Magaya system now. And why this, let me refresh. There you go, pickup order number 38. So why is it relevant that their tracking number was now on it? Because if I were to now want to receive this by using a workflow that we created for our last release, where you can start a new warehouse receipt just by scanning a tracking number. Let's say this box now gets to my warehouse. All I would have to do is to just use a scanner and scan the same tracking number. It doesn't need to be a US, UPS or FedEx one, just any tracking number, as long as they enter it on the pickup order request. So I'm scanning this tracking number now. It populates the item. It is already now tied to this pickup order. And so the reception process was extremely easy. So I can look at the history of this item. I will see pickup order number 38 there. So no data is lost. You just have to tell them, go post that pickup order online and enter the tracking number for me, so I have something to go against when I receive it. That's all you'd have to do. All right. So I'm actually going to not save this warehouse receipt because I'm going to use that same pickup order later, showing our final mile app. Okay. So back to LiveTrack. What else have we added that they can do in LiveTrack? All right. So let me look. Let me close this here, and let me look at this pickup order in LiveTrack. Number 38. Okay. We've had for a while the option for them, your customers, to add attachments to records in LiveTrack. So let's say you require them in the process to also attach some kind of documentation or some picture, let's say, of what they're posting. So they can do that. Let me click on the upload here and pull a picture of that box. That already existed in Magaya before. But now what we have added is a notification. You can now get an email that someone just attached something to pickup order number 38. Go check it out. So that is a wonderful new feature. You can actually design that email template yourself. So if we go to Magaya now and we look at this pickup order number 38, we see that this picture of a box that I just attached is there. It's upside down. I should have flipped it. All right, and let's see if I am actually receiving an email notification as well. There you go. New attachment added to pickup order number 38. Okay, I received it twice because I put my address also as the shipper and consignee address, just to make sure I received the email. All right, the text of this template you can actually design yourself. So this was one new feature, the notification that someone has attached something to any record in LiveTrack. The other new feature that we actually have seen, you already saw and started using without us having to make a big announcement, is that this email button used to not be here. So if the LiveTrack user, let's say this is whoever looking at this in LiveTrack, wants to just share this transaction by email, they can just click on the email button, and we have a system that do not reply address that will send it out. It could say it is. They can say the from name. This is, let's say, Jose. I don't know how to spell your name, Jose. I'm sorry.
No, close enough.
That's close enough. Okay, and I'm sending it to myself again, just so you see that it gets here. And I can type custom text, and it will also attach it. Okay, so now it'll send the email in a little while. You should see it popping up, or maybe not. Error. Love when this happens on a webinar. Anyway, I promise you it works. So, new features. A email notification when someone attached a document or a picture in LiveTrack. New templates that you can save, your customers can save and use. The ability to send emails out of LiveTrack, which currently didn't work, but you have already been using. And the ability to add tracking numbers to online pickup orders so that the reception process later is going to be greatly simplified. Okay, let's see if I forgot anything about LiveTrack. We have the templates, tracking numbers. Yes, there is one more little feature putting items on hold. Okay, so I'm going to log in as a different customer here because John hasn't been given access to warehouse receipts and commodities. So I have, let's say, Jose here. I'm going to log in as Jose, and let's say you have given your clients access to see their on-hand items and their warehouse receipts. So I'm here looking at all the cargo that I have on hand with you, and let's just say that I want to put this one item on hold. I can do it also by entire warehouse receipt. It doesn't need to be item by item, and I can give a reason here saying please wait with shipping, docs not ready yet, or something like that. They can select a reason or put a reason why they wanted this item on hold. So now if I go to Magaya and let's say I'm creating a cargo release, again, this when something was put on hold, it can be set up to send you a notification, etc. But even if I didn't get any notification and I'm now looking to release something of his cargo or ship it out, I can see that the item put on hold has this big pause button here, and if I'm trying to set it, it says you cannot select items or containers that have been placed on hold. So you would now have to contact them and ask why this is on hold, or you can go into the actual item and see the note that they added there. So this is another quick and convenient feature, but you might recognize the pattern here. It's yet another enhancement that will possibly make them call you less. Improves customer service, hopefully. And then the final new feature for LiveTrack is for those of you that are interested or maybe have already been using it, allowing your clients to sign up on LiveTrack by themselves. So getting new customers directly from the LiveTrack login page into your Magaya. Okay. Let me get back to the login page. And there is that register button here. Okay. So if I click on this register button, I get to a registration page, which we've already had for a while, but we've had some feedback that this page is a little too big, too complicated, contains too many fields. Sometimes the naming of the fields doesn't make sense in your particular business. So what we did is we gave you the power to customize how you want this sign up page for your customers to look like. Okay, what fields you want there, etc. So how this works. Let me go back to the login page, and this is now very important. In the previous things I was showing, I was logging into your LiveTrack as your customer, showing how it looks for your customer. Now I'm going to log in as you, as an admin. Okay, so let me go quickly into the backend Magaya system and explain how this is done, because this might be something that many of you haven't done ever. So any list in Magaya that shows entities that can have access to LiveTrack, so customers and forwarding agents and contacts, it has another view available that's called LiveTrack user list. Okay, so if I open this LiveTrack user list from the actions button, I actually can see everyone who has access Okay, great. Everybody, we are very sorry we had a temporary internet outage for some reason. So we are going to look at the next new feature that I was going to show. I hope that you're still there with us. Okay. In just 1 minute, we are going to... All right, let's continue. Okay, so the next new feature is how to customize your LiveTrack login page. And earlier I showed how to create your admin user in your Magaya that you can use to log in into LiveTrack. So I'm going to log into LiveTrack now as my company user that I've created for myself to be an admin, to be able to run certain admin features. So one of them is to customize the login page. Okay, so in the menu where I see now my own company name, there's a setting called registration form. Okay, the registration form, first of all, it gives me a preview whenever I want to look at it, what the current registration page would look like. So this is the complete standard one, but I want to make it somewhat simpler for my customers. First of all, I'm not going to even require them to enter a billing address, so I'm going to uncheck this whole area. The shipping address, I will say that I want the zip code to be mandatory. Customer info, maybe this whole section of customer info, I don't want to call customer info, it's a little too rigid. I want to be more friendly. I'm going to say, tell us about yourself. So I can create names for fields and sections in English, Spanish, or Portuguese. Here I have the company name, first name and last name. Well, maybe I'm in the industry where the company, well, my customer's a private person, so I'm actually going to choose not to even display the company name, just go by first name and last name. No one uses fax these days, so I'm going to uncheck it, and identification number, which could potentially be their passport or some ID, I'm going to turn that off as well. And website, I'm going to leave optional. Okay. Then we have this great feature that you can actually include custom fields from your Magaya system on the record type customer to be displayed in this registration. So if our standard registration fields weren't enough for you, you can include custom fields. So there's one called lead source. Right. I'm going to rename this and say, how did you hear about this? Okay. So I'm going to save this. Could preview it, but I'm just going to go and publish because of the outage. We're a little bit behind schedule. Are you going to make this form public? Your clients will see it right away. I'm going to say yes. Oh, and I have to actually check this box. And I'm going to publish it. Let's close the window. And now if I log out and put myself in the shoes of your potential new customer, so they get to your tracking page, they don't have a username and password, and they want to just register. So if I click it, you can see that the form, the way I designed it, is now here, so I can just quickly create a new user like this, and they will be entered as a customer in your system. I'm not going to actually go through with it because, as I said, we're unfortunately a little bit behind schedule now because we lost internet there for a second. All right, so this was the final new feature in LiveTrack. So let's continue. All right, good. Let's get interactive. We have a few questions to ask from you, actually. Okay, so let's start this first poll here. We are going to start with a LiveTrack question because that's what we just saw. So we just wanted to know, are you currently using custom LiveTrack from your website? Okay, and you should see a question pop up on your screen. If not, it might be blinking somewhere on the right-hand side in your GoToMeeting control panel. Okay, all right. I'm going to keep this open for a little longer. I see almost half of you have already voted whether or not they are using LiveTrack or custom LiveTrack. All right, so thank you. I am going to close this poll now. And let's see what you answered. Okay, it's about 50-50. So really, actually, it was a good question. So seeing that almost half of you use it, almost a little more than half of you who answered do not. So we can definitely see that there's room for improvement, and that's why we're having these webinars, and that's why we're creating new features for LiveTrack. All right, so let's ask one more question. This is a more generic question about a new feature that we're planning in Magaya. And this is actually to improve the way quotations and rates work in Magaya. So for the next version, 10.7, we're actually working on a major overhaul on rates. So you could send out rate quotes to your customer better. Okay, and question is basically simple. Would you like to provide insight and feedback? Because almost all the features that we create get most of their inspiration from customer requests. So would you like to work with us on making quotations and rates better in Magaya? And I can later see who responded yes and who responded no and contact you. Okay. So I'm going to close this one. More than half of you have voted, and about 3/4 of you had said yes. So thank you. All right, so let's continue with our presentation. Let's see the next topic. All right, so the next one will be transaction tracking. So transaction tracking, and more specifically, we're going to talk about tracking emails. So this is a feature Magaya has where when you create or update a transaction in Magaya, such as warehouse receipt or a shipment, a tracking email can be configured to be automatically sent to the customers, okay? Or to prompt before sending, but automatic is obviously the coolest. We have now added, based on your feedback, a few more features to this, okay? So let me first go ahead and create a warehouse receipt. Let me turn on my tracking emails and create a warehouse receipt and see. All right, so I'm going to automatically send email to customers when a transaction is finished, okay? And again, I'm going to use my email as the customer email, so I should be receiving those emails myself, okay? So I'm going to create a new warehouse receipt. Excuse me, yes. And so one of the pieces of feedback that we have received is that often these warehouse receipts the notification gets to customers too soon. I haven't maybe finished entering all the commodities yet. I have not attached pictures or the documentation needed yet. The email already went out and the customer's calling me saying, why am I looking at an empty transaction, or where is this item, etc. So to demonstrate that, I just created a warehouse receipt that is basically empty. To John, it is a warehouse receipt 153, and what should already happen is that I'm planning to work, even though I'm planning to work on this warehouse receipt for some more, John is going to receive a tracking email. So if I'm going to my inbox here, it needs to probably sync a little bit because we had this internet outage. But a tracking email for a warehouse receipt 153, here you go. Here it is. So they get the link, they would go there, but they wouldn't see anything because I didn't even put commodities in there. So this is why maybe a lot of you weren't using the automatic tracking emails yet. So we actually created a feature to fix this. Okay, so now I'm going back to my settings and saying only trigger the transaction tracking email by events. And what this means is that events can now trigger transaction tracking emails, and if I check this box that says only, it actually turns off the other mechanism that sends it. Okay, and how you control that is in the event definition setting. You can create events with a checkbox on that says event will trigger a transaction tracking email. So let's use this. So I'm just going to create an event that says warehouse receipt complete. Okay, very simple. Maybe it means in my context that I've attached pictures or whatnot, but warehouse receipt is now complete, and I'd say this event will trigger a transaction tracking email. Also, this event could be placed on the warehouse receipt or any other document following some automatic creation logic, but I'm going to keep it manual. All right, so I'm going to go back and create another warehouse receipt. So this is 154, again to John, and let me add a test box on it. Click OK. And what should happen now is that I do not receive, as John, I do not receive this email yet. Okay, 154, because I haven't put an event that qualifies this warehouse receipt for a tracking email. So let me go to my warehouse, to my inbox here, and refresh it. I'm not receiving an email with tracking info for warehouse receipt 154. Okay, if I now go to my events and add the event that says warehouse receipt complete that I just created, and as you can see, the send in transaction tracking email checkbox is on, and now close this. This triggered sending the transaction tracking email in the background. So now warehouse receipt 154 should drop in John's inbox soon, because the event is there. If I open it again, moreover, this actually has added a way to manually resend emails, because once the email was sent, this checkbox came off. If I now check it again, maybe I still made some updates, and I recheck this, and I click OK, and I save this warehouse receipt again, it sends another transaction tracking email. So we've given much more control over transaction tracking emails with this new feature. So actually I should have 2 emails for warehouse receipt 154 in my inbox. So let's see if I sync this. All right, let's go while this is pending. Oh, there you go. 154. And in a little bit I should receive 1 more. Okay, great. The next version will actually see the transaction tracking emails even better, because the email template that you saw I received in my inbox is currently a default one for all different transaction types, but we're going to include a feature where you can design one for different transaction types, so that confirmation email sent out for warehouse receipts will be different than the one for shipments, for example. All right. So the next feature, next new set of features is about our Final Mile app. Jose, how about our Final Mile app? Have you heard anything good or bad from customers about it?
Well, one of the things that we did was we changed the name. We originally started with proof of delivery, or the POD. But then we started actually adding more functionality because of the customer feedback. So now it's called the Final Mile, because at the end of the day, it is that final mile that's going to get that client the last signatures and information back from your trucker over to your.
All right.
All right.
Hello, everybody.
We're back?
Yes,
all right, good. You didn't have to cut me off, Chris, when I started talking about pricing. But anyway, so the idea was to make it an interesting price point for clients to be able to use it. We do have clients who do have large amounts of truck drivers or third-party drivers, and they want to be able to use this technology. Again, the idea here is for you to be able to dispatch cargo through your system, through the web app, that allow your truck driver to be able to actually scan it, get a signature, Eventually, we may have some pictures, Chris.
Yes.
So we'll talk about that.
All right.
Chris, tell us about it.
So the new features about the Final Mile app, and remember earlier I created a pickup order online using LiveTrack, and I actually put the tracking number on it, and I said I'm going to use it later for Final Mile. So this is the pickup order, number 38. So what I'm going to do now is just create a task for my driver to go and pick this up. So this was from John's place in Fort Lauderdale, and maybe I also want to send the driver. So all that John really needed to do was to go and create this generic, this online pickup order online. So I'm going to say pick up, and maybe some notes, some gate code saying beware of the dog. I like that one because John has fierce dogs. Okay, so I'm giving my driver here some notes, and let's see. Let's see if I can show my phone. Because now I'm going to be the driver using Final Mile. Okay. Let's try again. Okay, looks like presenting my phone today. I think it's because of the internet outage. Let me try this again. All right, looks like we might have to delay this part a little bit because for some reason I cannot connect my phone to the computer today. Okay. While I try this, let's continue with the teaser for the next webinar. Jose, do you want to? I'm going to just attempt to. I'm going to just restart my phone, see if it connects better, like that, and to share my phone screen on this webinar.
All right, okay. Perfect. Now we're going to have the next webinar is going to be based on 3PLs, and not just 3PLs on a day-to-day where you're actually receiving cargo and dispatching cargo from your distribution center, but also for e-commerce. When we talk about trends and what our clients are going through and what they're moving towards, the idea here is for them to get into e-commerce. Some of you have heard us talk about Logistico and all of these different functionalities regarding the product that's called Logistico. But there is a new business opportunities for you in e-commerce. We want to introduce these to you. Again, we are giving you the opportunity for you to go ahead and beat the competition and how these products can help you with that. So we want you to understand how e-commerce is changing logistics and how your company can grab its share for all of these services. So, Chris?
Yes, and right after this webinar, actually, the registration page for the next webinar is going to be live. You see it here already. So you can go and sign up and be invited to our e-commerce introduction.
Correct. And again, a lot of you are doing these e-commerce operations right now. You just have the product. There is no connection with what's happening to the online experience. So we want to kind of introduce those ideas and workflows of what our current clients are doing in leading that way of working. So we definitely want to give you an opportunity to see not just the enhancements for 10.6, but also the ideas behind how you can get more of a bigger share from just, hey, I do logistics to I do supply chain and e-commerce. So, Chris, I think you finally got your phone up, so let's see what you have.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your patience, everybody. I had to restart the phone because look. All right. Looks like we might still have a little bit of a delay there. Okay, so here we go. Here we are. We are getting into the Final Mile app, and I'm connecting to my database, logging in as my driver, John, to go pick something up from my customer, John. I need to get more creative with these names. Okay, so here is the pending task. I'm going to accept it. Here's the one box that I need to pick up, and here's the first new feature for the Final Mile app, is that I have access to complete details of this transaction. Okay, so the ones of you that were using Final Mile, they were saying, okay, sometimes when I'm asking for the customer signature for a delivery or pickup, they say, well, hey, tell me what I'm actually signing for. So there was a problem that you couldn't see the full detail of the original transaction. So this is everything on this pickup order. Okay, it's under the details here. So let me accept this. So now I'm on my way to the customer. I could use built-in maps to drive there, as we showed in our last webinar. But I'm just going to go ahead and assume that I'm picking this up now. Okay, and the next new feature, if I'm going to hit this dispatch button, let me go ahead and scan this item. Okay, again, I'm able to scan this because the tracking number was there. I could have just manually put it in as well. So here I'm picking it up from John's warehouse. So I'm going to say all good. And the next new feature is, as I'm handing this to John to sign, I can flip my phone and the signature field gets nice and full screen for them. All right, and also we've added the total number of pieces that John customer knows that what they are signing for. All right, so another new feature on this screen is that maybe there's some documentation that you need a proof of right then and there. Maybe something is damaged or there's some kind of a claim. Well, now you don't have to stay there and argue too much. You can just go ahead and take pictures. Okay, so I'm going to hit the camera icon here, and I'm going to attach, let's say maybe this is some kind of an important shipping document. Do I want to take it or take it from my phone library? Let me take a new photo. Okay, so I'm taking a picture of this important shipping document, and it's going to be attached to the task. All right, so now I have the customer signature. They know what they signed for because the full information was there. The updated signature field makes it easier for them so they can use the full screen, and I can take one or several pictures and they will be sent back to the Magaya system. Okay, so let me complete this part of the task. Since this is a pickup order, it is a two-part task. This is now picked up. I still have to deliver it, and I'm delivering it to my warehouse because it was that type of a pickup. So here, again, I could do all these same things, look at the data, either scan or manually enter the quantity of items. So I chose to do it manually here, and then here, let's say my warehouse person, Bill, is accepting this, and it's right here. I could take another picture, etc. Okay, so now I'm completing this task, and it's sent back to my Magaya. We can take a look. Let me refresh this. It is a, and you can see the status of this pickup order has now changed. It is now set as delivered. And if we look at the attachments, we see the original attachment that I posted from LiveTrack, but I see the documentation taken from Final Mile and actually the signature. Well, the signature might still be coming. The pictures are actually delivered in little increments because the files can be large. So maybe I clicked on it too quickly. Let's look. All right, we'll have to see when the signature gets here. Okay, so this information actually is now available in LiveTrack as well immediately for John. So they started the process by posting the pickup order online. They can now close the loop by going to LiveTrack online and see the delivery confirmation. Okay, so this works for shipments and pickup orders and cargo releases. Okay, so pickup order here for John. Okay, so this concluded our final mile presentation. There you go. There's Bill's signature that was received, when it was picked up, the tracking details, even with timestamps and all notes and the images that were attached right here. Okay, so let's get back to our presentation. We only have one more thing to go, which is what's in the works for version 10.7. We're working this part. Those of you who were here last week already saw. We're working on creating new standard document templates, so they will look nicer and work better with the new interface. But we're also creating a LiveTrack app for iOS and Android, and as already mentioned, LiveTrack Plus will be what it works with. And last week I showed a little bit, but I have to admit I was actually not showing the real app. I was showing some design images. So the developer working on this said, hey, you can show them the prototype. Okay, so this is me actually running the LiveTrack app on my phone. It is only going to work with 10.7, so I can't give it to you yet. And this is a fictional database. I'm looking at my shipments list. Let's say I want to apply a filter, looking at air shipments only. This is a fictional database, but it's very big in terms of how many records. There are thousands, so this is super fast. Let's look at this air shipment. I have containers here, items. I have documents. There you go. There's your airway bill attached from Magaya. Maybe I want. Okay. All right, looks like there is a bit of delay between my phone and the computer. I'm already looking at an ocean shipment. Okay. So I'm applying a filter. There you go. Looking at this ocean ship, and now the computer caught up with my phone. So I can see the status. I can see the arrival and departure information, piece count. I can see all the tracking details. So let me click on here, and I can see all the events on the shipment. When I scroll down, I can see containers in it, or if it was it shows the list of items in the container. Okay. There can even be pallets in the container that I can now click and see the items in there. Okay, and the attachments and documents. Let's go back to the home screen. I can take a look at warehouse receipts. There are more items that can fit on the screen. I can see show more and just keep scrolling. Again, if there are any attachments, it shows the entities and even custom fields. If I chose to add some custom fields on my warehouse, the customer will see those. Attachments and documents. All right. Looks like this attachment might be from an older record. Alrighty. So just to give you a little bit of a sneak preview of the LiveTrack mobile app that we're going to release with 10.7. Okay, and finally, we're done for today. If you have been typing in your questions, I'll start taking them now. If you still haven't, the questions part is on the right-hand side in the GoToMeeting control panel. Jose, are you ready for questions?
I'm ready, Chris. Let's see what we got.
Okay, so we have here someone saying that something went wrong with the audio. I think we're going to get that question a lot today.
Yes, we are. Sorry.
It is ironic that we work for a technology company and the internet fails.
That's one thing we don't do.
Yes,
Internet.
Maybe we need to get into this. Okay, then we have a question. What about the security regarding the types of files that can be uploaded? There is a list of file types that we allow. This question came from Ramon. It's a really good question. Like, you know, maybe what if someone wants to use that as to send some kind of a virus to upload an attachment from LiveTrack? Ramon, I don't have the name, the list of the full list of the extensions allowed, but we have thought about it, and it's including only reasonable popular file types. But I'm sure tech support could actually pull the actual full list. All right, so there's another one about sound and freezing of the screen. Okay. So here is actually, it looks like that's the part we missed, because Juan pointed out that how to set up this admin user in Magaya that you can use to log into LiveTrack to make those changes, to customize the login page and to change the default columns for all your users. Okay, let me go quickly about that again. We go to any list of entities in Magaya, such as customers, that can have access to LiveTrack, and use the Actions button to pull a LiveTrack user list. You see it opens another tab, and it shows all the LiveTrack users. Here I can create a new one manually. Why would I do that? Is that my goal is to get to this kind of user who the system ID here equals my network ID, okay? So you see my network ID in the top right, 26218 is mine. So that's how LiveTrack would know that I'm logging into my own database as an admin, not as a customer. Okay, so if I go and create the new one, I pick this user as my company, the one that you have under my company info here, and then it will show, and I will say, the restrictions obviously won't matter because I'm an admin, but I create an admin username and password, and then I can use this user to log into my LiveTrack. So I created one that's called my admin, for example. And we have, this is also covered in our knowledge base, and we have a video about this as well. But it was a very valid question, because that's exactly, I think, where the internet disappeared. All right. Question, is there a quote template in the LiveTrack? Currently in LiveTrack, users cannot enter quotes. So what they can add, the records that they can add are bookings, pickup orders, cargo releases, shipments, sales orders. I think that's the complete list, but they cannot request a quote yet through LiveTrack. All right. Can I add a link to my website to have new potential customers register to Magaya and send a quote request? Again, what maybe if you want, you could put a custom field on that registration page, which is like a bigger text field where they can type something. But again, for a repeating, like if they want to keep sending quote requests, maybe the idea is that they could be sending the next stage. Like if the quote would be for a shipment, they could send the shipping request instead, and you can then process it as pending and kind of process it as a quote in your system. But the actual quotes, not there yet. Will Magaya be moving to an SQL database? Well, yes. That's we are actually building a next generation of our database, and it is SQL based. It's using Postgres SQL, which is, I believe, the 4th largest database provider in the world. So yes, Magaya will actually soon be available in a different database format based on SQL, so you can do queries and things like that. That was a more technical question, but very valid. Okay, will there be will the new app allow to create new warehouse receipts completely from mobile devices, including pictures, scanning barcodes, etc.? Yes, so we discussed in the last webinar that we're building a new app to be used in warehousing. And so I think Darrell's question was about that particular app. Final Mile that we showed this time is for deliveries and pickups. The LiveTrack app will be for the same things that you have the web LiveTrack, but we are working on a 3rd app which will allow receiving cargo in the warehouse and take pictures with your mobile device and scan barcodes, etc. Okay. So here we have Ramon reporting an issue with the attachment uploads. That's noted. We are going to deal with this. Thank you. Question from Alejandra: do I have to use LiveTrack to make my bookings, or is there another option in Magaya? Well, obviously, the bookings can still be created in Magaya. If your customer emails you or calls you. You can create bookings for them yourself in Magaya. LiveTrack would be the way to take that workload off your table and ask them to do it, to submit it for themselves in LiveTrack. But the original option is there and will always be there. Okay, so there's a question with the updates for templates from LiveTrack. Are we saying that customers can now request bookings from there to us? Yes and no. That feature that the customer can create their own booking and that will end up in your Magaya system, that has been in LiveTrack for a while. What we added now is the option for them to create those bookings and pickup orders, etc., from a pre-saved template. So that, let's say, they have a similar booking every week or multiple. They have a few routes that they normally ship with you, so that they don't always have to enter every field again. They can use templates so they can generate those booking requests to you faster. But the feature to actually generate the booking requests from LiveTrack, that has been there. All right, how does LiveTrack track a container? So if this question is about, let's say, other systems out there that, such as Intra, that provide like global container tracking, we do integrate with Intra, but not in that particular capacity. How do LiveTrack track a container? If you have the container information entered in Magaya, in a shipment, let's say, and then you put events on the shipment, or if that shipment was sent through Intra, actually those updates will end up on the shipment. So in your shipment here, this events part is your tracking information, which will be displayed in LiveTrack for your customer. So either you put those tracking details in here manually, or if this was a shipping request sent through Intra and it is updated by them, then you would get new events here automatically. All right, it looks like that was all for questions today. Thank you. Jose, did you have anything else?
Basically, we have any polls left? Any questions to ask? We're done. We're ready to go. All right. Well, guys, girls, thank you very much for joining us. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to help you out. Any questions that you may have. Again, we'll have another webinar talking about, you know, what and how to manage your 3PL and e-commerce and what the new trends are. So please join us for that. Thank you from Magaya, Chris, and myself for joining us, and we'll see you in a month.
Thank you very much. Have a great afternoon, everybody.